Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of Musical Musings. We air this program every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and broadcast it from Rajamacon, University of Technology, Peranakan. We will bring this program to you in two parts. In the first part, I will introduce an artist and a song to you. We'll talk about the background of both the artist and the song, as well as discuss the main themes of the song, like what it's all about. Then we will take a break to listen to the song, and when we come back from the break, in the second part of our program, we will analyze the lyrics, looking especially at any difficult vocabulary, slang, idioms, anything like that may be hard to understand. All right, let's get to the show.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Gary Gray, your host for the Musical Musings program. I'm an American English teacher here at Rajamacon, University of Technology, Peranakan. I've been teaching here for over 8 years, and I do enjoy including music in my classroom sometimes. It is a good learning tool to make sure you understand common language. Sometimes when we study too much straight out of the books, learning grammar and vocabulary, we don't learn how to actually communicate. We don't learn kind of common terms, slang, idioms, things like that. So I like to use music sometimes to try to help the students understand that. Okay, so first of all, before we get started, I apologize that we are without video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're just listening on the radio or streaming, you don't even notice it. But for those of you on YouTube, we are without video for our second week in a row. Hopefully we'll have it back next week. But no video for today. Now, of course, when I say no video, that doesn't mean we are not going to have the music video. For those of you who are, again, on YouTube, we will give the link to the music video like we normally do. I just mean there's no video of me talking to the camera. All right, so for today's episode, we are going to do All I Have to Do Is Dream by the Everly Brothers. Okay. So this is going to be one of the older songs that we've done. The Everly Brothers were born, I don't even have the dates of their births. I believe, given when they were performing and active, they were probably born in the 1930s. So that's quite a long time ago. Almost 100 years ago. Not quite, maybe more like 90 years ago. But they actually are brothers. Remember last time we did brothers a few weeks ago? It was the Righteous Brothers, who are not brothers. They are not brothers. So the Everly Brothers actually are brothers. Their names are Don and Phil Everly. They are from Tennessee, I believe. I don't have this in my notes, but I believe, if I recall, they were from Knoxville, Tennessee. So they are from Tennessee. And they were active from 1956 to 1973. And then they kind of got back together in 1983 and performed up until 2005. It was kind of a rejuvenation of kind of wanting to see some of these older groups, like in the 80s and 90s. So a lot of them kind of came back, like the Everly Brothers did. Now, they wouldn't have been as popular in the 1980s and 90s, of course, because it was mostly going to be older folks who wanted that nostalgia that would go and listen to them. But there were times, like when they would like I remember the public broadcasting station that we have in the U.S., they would sometimes have multiple groups come together for like special performances. And when they would do that, it would attract a lot of people. They'd have pretty huge crowds at those events. They were quite popular. So again, so probably their more important time, though, was that early time from 1956 to 1973. That was their prime time when they were popular. But they did get back together and perform for another 22 years, 1983 to 2005. Unfortunately, as you can probably guess, given that they were born in the 1930s, that they have both passed. So Phil died in 2014, and Don died in 2021. Now, as far as what genre of music they sing, I'm not even sure what you would call this kind of older style of music. It was the popular music of the time, so, and a lot of the music was fairly similar in terms of style. I mean, there were definitely some differences. I mean, you had jazz artists, and there were definitely different styles. But there was less variety than we kind of really see now. Actually, now it seems like we've gone backwards. It's more like that now. But like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was a lot more. It seems like there was a lot more variety, a lot more different genres, and genres being mixed and things like that. I would most comfortably call this pop, except I don't think they really used that term back then. But it was kind of the popular style of music. And like I said, there weren't a lot of different styles. I mean, you start getting into the 60s and early 70s, in which that was part of their career. You certainly started getting slowly a little more heavy with the rock. And that was not what these guys were. So there certainly were some differences. But since they're not really rock, maybe you could call them soft rock. But I would still go more like with just kind of the pop sound of it. But I don't know. Some people may not like that classification. So I'm not sure what kind of genre you want to call them. You know me, I don't even like classifying people anyway, as far as genres. But we talk about it because a lot of people always ask, oh, what genre of music do they do? I don't know. It's really soft rock. You might even call it easy listening, but that's more of a radio term that some people use. I wouldn't consider easy listening really even a genre. Some people sometimes like to say smooth jazz, but smooth jazz is often not very jazzy. Some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. So I don't really like that genre either, as far as classifying people. So I don't know. I don't know what you want to call their genre of music. It's just very kind of smooth. It was the popular music of the time. So that's why I would call it pop, because that's where the word pop comes from, is popular. But again, I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. So let's just move on and talk about the song, because I don't want to talk about genre too long. It's something I don't even like talking about. All right. So let's talk about the song. The song is "All I Have to Do Is Dream." Now, back then, I've mentioned this before. Back then, a lot of people didn't write their own songs. These guys didn't either. This song was written by Felice and Boudleaux Bryant. And I've mentioned many times on this program that I do try to do songs that were written by the people performing them, but back then it was not very common. So I didn't even try to look for a song that they actually wrote and performed. I don't even know if they wrote any themselves. I have no idea. I didn't even bother to research that. This is one of their most famous songs, so I just took this one. And it's written again by Felice and Boudleaux Bryant. It was published in 1958, and the Everly Brothers, I assume, since they came out with it in the middle of 1958, the Everly Brothers, I assume, were the first to record it, because it has been recorded by other people, but I believe the Everly Brothers were the first ones. So they recorded it that year. Now, as far as where it ranked on the Billboard charts, some people say it got to number 1. but it was on other sort of charts. The Hot 100 chart, which is the main one that we tend to look at, actually didn't start until later that year. So we don't know exactly where it ranked, but for the year, Billboard Hot 100 was able to rank it, and ranked it number 2. So if it's going to rank number 2 for the year, probably it would have gotten to number 1. And it did get to number 1 in some of the other charts. It's just that the standard Billboard Hot 100 was not available at that time yet. But it probably would have been number 1. So you can basically consider this a number 1 song. Remember I said that this was probably their most famous song? Yeah, it probably was. They have a couple of other songs that are really popular as well that I know about. I actually know the songs. I'm not too familiar with the Everly Brothers because they're before my time, but I've certainly heard most of their music. So they have several songs that I'm familiar with. All right, so this is really just a simple love song where he's dreaming about his girlfriend. Okay? And a lot of it's about how in his dreams, I guess it's basically like they're so vivid that he's actually with her. Okay? So that's pretty much what it's about. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the song. For those of you that are joining us on YouTube, as I said, even though my video is not here, we're still going to give you a link to the actual video for the song. As always, we cannot embed the video on here. So in the upper right-hand corner, please click on that link for the video. And when the video is done, you can click back here for the second part of our program. And for those of you who are just listening by streaming or radio, you should be able to listen just fine. All right, let's get to the song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, that was All I Have to Do Is Dream by the Everly Brothers. And it's just a song about dreaming about your love. Okay, so let's go through these lyrics. It's going to be pretty easy. You'll see a few things that are a little bit weird, a little bit tricky, and we will talk about those. But it's pretty easy song. So we start out, dream, 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 dream. He repeats that several times. When I want you in my arms, when I want you and all your charms, whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, 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 dream. Okay, when I want you in my arms, okay, that should be easy enough, right? When I want you and all your charms. What does that mean? Okay, so if someone is charming, it means there are certain things about them that would attract you. And it's a word that's really hard to describe. It's almost like it's things that are cute. Because, to be charming is kind of sweet and cute and nice. So it's whatever makes her like that. Whatever she does. Or however she looks. That makes her like that. That makes her charming. So those things that make her like that, those would be like her charms. It's not a word we use often. The word charms, we use that usually for something else. Like a little pendant or something like that is called a charm. Even that word we don't even use that word very often in that context, but it's used more commonly that way. So that's what it means here. It's the things that he likes about her, the things that make her cute, sweet, whatever those qualities are about her. So when I want you and all your charms. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Okay? So again, as I mentioned in the first part of the program, it's about him being able to really feel her presence when he's dreaming about her. Okay? We go to verse 2. There's not really a chorus here. There is a bridge that they repeat twice. You maybe can call that a chorus. I don't know. It's labeled in the listings of the lyrics as the bridge. I don't know. I would maybe call it a chorus, but whatever. Okay. But before we get to the bridge or chorus, we have verse 2. When I feel blue in the night and I need you to hold me tight, whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Right? Most of that should be easy, right? When I need you to hold me, whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. But the first line there, when I feel blue in the night, blue. What does that mean? We don't use this word very often either. We use it enough so that some of you might know this word. Well, you all know the word. It's a color. I'm sure anyone who's listening to me understands enough English to know that blue is a color. Okay. Yes, it's a color, but it has a second meaning. It means like feeling sad. If you're blue, you're feeling sad. You don't feel good. So when I feel blue in the night, so when he's sad, and I need you to hold me tight, so he needs her to hold him. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. And now here comes the bridge or the chorus, whatever you want to call it. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. Okay, so there's a few things here. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine. All right, taste your lips of wine. What does that mean? Okay, so tasting your lips sounds a little bit creepy, but it's kind of a phrase we use. It's a little bit of an older phrase. You don't hear it very often anymore. And when we say lips of wine, it doesn't mean her lips taste like wine. It means they're red. So they're, like red wine. So they're kind of dark red. She's got very, very strong lips with the color of them. So he's trying to kind of give a picture of her as he's singing this song. Her red lips. Anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz. All right, where's gee whiz? Gee whiz is kind of an old-fashioned way of saying, it's an exclamation. It's like saying that something is not great. It's usually if something is bad, you might hear a native English speaker use a swear word or something like that. Usually when we say gee whiz, it's not that bad. But it's just not good. So he's saying this trouble, he says, only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. In other words, he's spending his entire life dreaming because he always wants her there. So he's saying that's a problem. That's the only bad thing. He loves dreaming about her because he feels like she's there. But the only problem is, because he loves her, he's always dreaming about her. Okay, verse 3. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, 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 dream. Okay, so when you say that you need something so much that you could die, you don't really mean you're going to die. That line almost sounds sad, right? You're talking about dying. No. It's just it's more of a slang term, or maybe even an idiom, since you say, well, I could die, so it's more than one word. It's a phrase, so you might even want to call that an idiom. That's kind of slang or an idiom term, where all it means is that you want it a lot. Maybe even need a little lot. Maybe even need it a lot. Blah, blah, blah. Hard to spit that out. So in this case, he's saying need, not want. He says, I need you so that I could die. So he's just saying he really needs her. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Okay, the rest of that's easy. And now we get the bridge or the chorus again, so we're not going to go back over that. So then we get to the last verse. I need you, but it's really just a repeat of verse 3. It's, I need you so that I could die, I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, 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 dream. It's the same thing. It's just verse 3 all over again. Okay, so that really is the end of that song. That is it. That is all I have to do is dream by the Everly Brothers. Okay, and as we close out the program, I always like to point out other songs by the artist that you should check out. And so for the Everly Brothers, we have this song, of course, All I Have to Do Is Dream. I've got 3 other songs by them that you may want to check out. Bye Bye Love, Wake Up Little Susie, and Problems. And I will be honest with you, since this is an older group, I don't know all of their songs very well, so I don't even know the song Problems. I only include it on the list because it's listed as one of their top songs. I do know Bye Bye Love, and I do know Wake Up Little Susie. And when we talked about in the first part of the program the genre, and I was talking about how I didn't like talking about genre, blah, 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 blah. Bye Bye Love and Wake Up Little Susie are a little more fast-paced. So you might consider those to be a little bit more rock and roll, but they're still kind of, I don't know. I don't know how rock and roll those really are. but they're a little more energetic than All I Have to Do Is Dream. All I Have to Do Is Dream is more of a romantic, slow song. Bye Bye Love and Wake Up Little Susie, like I said, I do know those songs, so I can think of them as soon as I mean, in my brain, I'm singing them when I read the name. Bye Bye Love. And then you have Wake Up Little Susie, Wake Up. So those are a little bit more upbeat songs. And so maybe you'd consider those rock and roll. I don't know. But for today, what we listened to was All I Have to Do Is Dream. And again, the name of the artist is the Everly Brothers, which consists of Don and Phil Everly. Okay, so that'll do it for today. Thank you for joining us for today's Musical Musings program. I would encourage any young people out there who are going to be heading off to university soon to check out our wonderful little university here, Ratchamakan University of Technology, Pranicon. All right, please stay with us and tune back in next week for another great song. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Musical musings, musical